Ladies and gentlemen, today is August the 9th. 68 years ago this day, an atomic bomb was dropped on Nagasaki. To pray for the repose of the souls of the deceased atomic bomb victims, to encourage the survivors who still suffer from the after effects, and to call for the realization of a peaceful world without nuclear weapons, we will now hold the 68th Nagasaki Peace Ceremony in the presence of honored guests and attendees from Japan and abroad. I am Asuka Yamashita, the third-year student at Nagasaki Meisei Senior High School. I am Haruki Sakaue, first-year student at Nagasaki Meisei Senior High School. As members of the young generation who will succeed Nagasaki's quest for peace, we will serve as masters of ceremonies. Now, the bell of Nagasaki tolls for peace. Lists of atomic bomb survivors who died over the past year will be laid to rest in the memorial cenotaph by Ms. Kiyomi Iguro, representing the bereaved families, Mr. Inosuke Hayasaki, representing the atomic bomb survivors, Takumi Kurosaki, representing the young people of Nagasaki, and the mayor of Nagasaki City. The list contains 3,404 names, making the total number of the atomic bomb victims and survivors who died in subsequent years 162,083.
The chairman of Nagasaki City Council is going to give opening words. opening words. Today, at the 68th Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, with the attendance of Prime Minister Abe, our esteemed guests, bereaved families, and citizens of Nagasaki, I would like to begin by expressing my deepest condolences for those lost in the atomic bombing. At 11:02 a.m. on August the 9th, 68 years ago, a single atomic bomb exploded in the sky, taking many precious lives and destroying Nagasaki in an instant. Even today, those that managed to survive suffer from the after effects of the bomb. Nagasaki and its citizens have continued to call for everlasting peace and the abolition of nuclear weapons because of our strong resolve to never allow such an unimaginable, inhumane act like the one on that day to occur ever again. With the atomic bomb survivors here in Nagasaki continuing to age every year, it has become increasingly more difficult to pass on personal experiences from the bombing. Those unfamiliar with the bombing learn from these individuals the realities of the atomic bomb, the preciousness of peace, and the resolve of the people of Nagasaki. Furthermore, youth from Nagasaki participated in the preparatory committee for the 2015 NPT Review Conference held in Geneva, Switzerland this past April, calling for the abolition of nuclear weapons. This sight left a great impression and gave me hope and confidence in future generations. Today, here in Nagasaki, we must join together and once again resolve to realize a peaceful world free of nuclear weapons. In closing, I would like to again share my condolences for those lost in the atomic bombing and pray for their good health and all atomic bomb survivors and bereaved families. Hiroyuki Itasaka, Nagasaki City Council Chairman, August 9th, 2013.
Offering of water. Water will be offered to the souls of the deceased atomic bomb victims. 68 years ago this day, the atomic bomb victims who got their skin and flesh burnt raw asked for water as they breathed their last. The clean water to be offered was collected from places around the city where the victims searched for water, including the inner temple of Anakobo in Ebira, Nishimachi, Nishiyama, Mitsuyama, and from the Spring of Peace in the Peace Park. The water will be offered by Ms. Michiko Fukui, representing the atomic bomb survivors, Mr. Masakatsu Obata, representing the bereaved families, Ayaka Sugino, representing the senior high school students, Daichi Matsuo, representing junior high school students, and Umi Kajiya representing elementary school children.
献花遺族代表山口睦子さん、城代明成さん、長崎市長および長崎市議会議長が聖火を捧げます。
And the Speaker of Nagasaki City Council. Our honored guests are now invited to offer flowers. Mr. Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan. Mr. Bunmei Ibuki, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. Masaaki Yamazaki, President of the House of Councillors. Mr. Hirotaka Akamatsu, Vice Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. Fumio Kishida, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mr. Norihisa Tamura, Minister of Health, Labor and Welfare. Mr. Seigo Kitamura, Representative of the Liberal Democratic Party. Mr. Banri Kaieda, Representative of the Democratic Party of Japan. Mr. Kenta Matsunami, Representative of Japan Restoration Party. Mr. Natsuo Yamaguchi, Representative of New Komeito. Mr. Koichi Yamauchi, Representative of Your Party. Mr. Tadayoshi Ichida, Representative of Japanese Communist Party. Mr. Katsumasa Suzuki, Representative of People's Life Party. Ms. Mizuho Fukushima, Representative of Social Democratic Party. Mr. Hodo Nakamura, Governor of Nagasaki Prefecture. Mr. Toshikatsu Watanabe, Speaker of Nagasaki Prefectural Assembly. Mr. Kazumi Matsui, Mayor of Hiroshima City. Mr. Noriaki Usui, Speaker of Hiroshima City Council. Mr. Shigemi Maruko, Representative of the Atomic Survivors of Hiroshima. Ms. Hisako Uchida and Mr. Tamio Matsumoto, representatives of bereaved families of atomic bomb victims in Japan. His Excellency Mr. Chin Siat-yun, Ambassador of the Republic of Singapore. His Excellency Mr. Raul Dejan, Ambassador of the Republic of Argentina. His Excellency Mr. Tim Hitchens, Ambassador of the United Kingdom. His Excellency Mr. Edmund Kofi Day, Ambassador of the Republic of Ghana. Representing the Mayors of Peace, Mr. Kuda Karim, Mayor of Kalabja, Kurdistan, Iraq, Mr. Tore Fedsby, Mayor of Front Norway, and Mr. Josep Mayorol, Mayor of Granollers, Spain. Representing the National Council of Japan Nuclear-Free Local Authorities, Mr. Kazuhiro Shinno, Mayor of Hatsukaichi City. We will now invite representatives of the attendees to offer flowers.
It is almost 11:02. We will pause for a moment of silent prayer for the souls of the atomic bomb victims and also for peace. Ladies and gentlemen, you're kindly requested to rise.
Mokto. 黙祷を終わります。
Thank you very much. Please be seated. The mayor of Nagasaki will deliver a peace declaration to the world. The copies of the declaration will be sent to the heads of all UN member states and to the local authorities in Japan. It will also be disseminated to all corners of the world on the internet. Nagasaki Peace Declaration. 68 years ago today, a United States bomber dropped a single atomic bomb directly over Nagasaki. The bomb's heat rays, blast winds, and radiation were immense, and the fire that followed engulfed the city in flames into the night. The city was instantly reduced to ruins. Of the 240,000 residents in the city, around 150,000 were afflicted and 74,000 of them died within the year. Those who survived have continued to suffer from a higher incidence of contracting leukemia, cancer, and other serious radiation-induced diseases. Even after 68 years, they still live in fear and suffer deep psychological scars. Humankind invented and produced this cruel weapon. Humankind has ever gone so far as using nuclear weapons on both Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Humankind has repeatedly conducted nuclear tests, contaminating the Earth. Humankind has committed a great many mistakes. This is why we must, on occasion, reaffirm the pledges we have made in the past that must not be forgotten and start anew. I call on the Japanese government to consider once again that Japan is the only country to have suffered a nuclear bombing. At the Preparatory Committee for the 2015 Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT Review Conference, held in Geneva in April 2013, several countries proposed a joint statement on humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons, to which 80 countries expressed their support. South Africa and other countries that made this proposal asked Japan to support and sign the statement. However, the Japanese government did not sign it, betraying the expectations of global society. If the Japanese government cannot support the remark that, quote, nuclear weapons, bracket, should never be, bracket close, used again under any circumstances. This implies that the Japanese government would approve of their use under some circumstances. This stance contradicts the resolution that Japan would never allow anyone else to become victims of a nuclear bombing. We are also concerned about the resumption of negotiations concerning the Japan-India Nuclear Cooperation Agreement. Cooperating on nuclear power with India, who has not signed the NPT, would render the NPT meaningless, as its main tenet is to stop the increase of the number of nuclear weapon states. Japan's cooperation with India would also provide North Korea, which withdrew from the NPT and is committed to nuclear development, with an excuse to justify the actions hindering the efforts towards the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula. I call on the Japanese government to consider once again that Japan is the only country to have suffered a nuclear bombing. I call on the Japanese government to enact the 3 non-nuclear principles into law and take proactive measures to exert its leadership by creating a Northeast Asian nuclear weapon-free zone, thus fulfilling its duty as the only nation to have suffered an atomic bombing. Under the current NPT, nuclear weapon states have a duty to make earnest efforts towards nuclear disarmament. This is a promise they've made to the rest of the world. In April of 2009, United States President Barack Obama expressed his desire to seek a nuclear-free world during a speech in Prague. In June this year, President Obama stated in Berlin that he would work towards further reduction of nuclear arsenals, saying, quote, so long as nuclear weapons exist, we are not truly safe, end of quote. Nagasaki supports President Obama's approach. However, there are over 17,000 nuclear warheads still in existence, of which at least 90% belong to either the United States or Russia. President Obama, President Putin, please commit your countries to a speedy, drastic reduction of your nuclear arsenal. Rather than envisioning a nuclear-free world as a faraway dream, we must quickly decide to solve this issue by working towards the abolition of these weapons, fulfilling the promise made to global society. There are things that we citizens can do to help realize a nuclear-free world, other than entrusting the work to leaders of nations only. In the preface of the Constitution of Japan, it states that the Japanese people have, quote, resolved that never again shall we be visited with the horrors of war through the action of government, end of quote. This statement reflects the firm resolution of Japanese people to work for world peace. In order not to forget this original desire for peace, it is essential to impart the experiences of war and atomic devastation to succeeding generations. We must continue to remember what has taken many lives and caused the physical and mental anguish for a great many more survivors. We must not forget the numerous cruel scenes of the war in order to prevent another one. People of younger generations, have you ever heard the voices of the Hibakusha survivors of the atomic bombing? Have you heard them crying out, no more Hiroshimas, no more Nagasakis, no more wars and no more Hibakusha? You will be the last generation to hear their voices firsthand. Listen to their voices to learn what happened 68 years ago under the atomic cloud. Listen to their voices to find out why they continue to appeal for nuclear abolition. You will find that despite much hardship, they continue to fight for nuclear abolition for the sake of future generations. Please consider whether or not you will allow the existence of nuclear weapons in the world today and in the future world of your children. Please talk to your friends about this matter. It is you who will determine the future of this world. There are many things that we can do as local citizens. Nearly 90% of Japanese municipalities have made nuclear-free declarations to demonstrate their residents' refusal to become victims of a nuclear attack and their resolution to work for world peace. The National Council of Japan, nuclear-free local authorities comprising these municipalities, celebrates its 30th anniversary this month. If any members of such municipalities plan to take any action in accordance with the declaration they have made, they shall have the support of the National Council, as well as that of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. In Nagasaki, the 5th Nagasaki Global Citizens Assembly for the Elimination of Nuclear Weapons will be held this coming November. At this assembly, residents will play the key role in disseminating the message for nuclear abolition to people around the world. Meanwhile, the accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant operated by Tokyo Electric Power Company, Inc. has yet to be resolved, and the radioactive contamination continues to spread. In an instant, this accident derived many residents in Fukushima of their peaceful daily lives. They are still forced to live without clear vision as to their future. The residents of Nagasaki truly hope for the earliest possible recovery of Fukushima and will continue to support the people of Fukushima. Last month, Mr. Senji Yamaguchi, a hibakusha who called for nuclear abolition and for better support for hibakusha, passed away. The number of hibakusha continues to decrease, with their average age now exceeding 78. Once again, I call on the Japanese government to provide better support for these aging hibakusha. We offer our sincere condolences for the lives lost in the atomic bombings and pledge to continue our efforts towards realizing a nuclear-free world, hand in hand with the citizens of Hiroshima. Tomihisa Taue, Mayor of Nagasaki, August 9th, 2013.
Pledge for Peace. Mr. Shohei Tsuki, representative of the atomic bomb survivors. This year's summer is also a hot one. I will never forget that day. I was 18 at the time, a second grader at normal school. Every day, I worked at the Mitsubishi Sumiyoshi Tunnel Arms Factory as a mobilized student. On August 9th, 1945, I completed a night shift and returned to my dormitory, located 1.8 kilometers north of the hypocenter. It was 7 a.m. After eating some pumpkin, a staple food at that time, I soon fell asleep. I woke up to a thundering sound, and in that instant, I was blown back by the blast winds. When I came to, I noticed I had slammed into the wall. My friend who had been sleeping next to me was covered in blood. I too suffered from bad burns on my left wrist and leg, and parts of my body cut by glass fragments were bleeding. Although barefoot and covered in blood, I managed to take refuge in an air raid shelter 20 meters away. The air raid shelter was already full of people. In front of the shelter, there were people who were charred black, people whose skin was peeling off their bones, people without noses and ears, a mother in a state of shock holding her dead child, and completely charred bodies standing expressionless. Just like straight out of a painting of a scene in hell. Before long, I was forced out by the spreading fire, and I arrived at the temporary aid station in Nagayo. I received medical treatment at my house located away from the hypocenter from the following day. In those 2 months, I suffered from a fever, had bloody stool, and I couldn't even stand on my feet. My hair fell out and struggled from the pains of my wounds. After hearing that people nearby were dying one after another, I prepared for my own death, fearing I would be the next one. At the time, I still did not know the true fear of radiation. I have been lucky to have been able to live until today. What I desire the most is the immediate removal of these genocidal weapons of mass destruction from the face of this earth. However, nuclear tests are still being carried out today, and nuclear weapons development continues. If one of those nuclear weapons were to be used, there's no way to be protected from radiation. It will surely mark the end of humanity. Japan, as the only country to suffer from a nuclear bombing, has a responsibility to stand at the forefront of the movement to abolish nuclear weapons. Other atomic bomb survivors and I have continued to call for the abolition of these weapons under the slogan, Nagasaki, the last atomic bombed city. Unfortunately, Japan did not sign the joint statement at the last preparatory committee meeting for the NPT review conference, calling for the recognition of the humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons. As atomic bomb survivors from Nagasaki, rather than being surprised, we cannot hide our resentment. Meanwhile, due to Tokyo Electric Power Company's Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant disaster, a new group of radiation victims was created, showing that even the peaceful use of nuclear technology is not safe. Notwithstanding, actions are being taken to restart nuclear power reactors and sell nuclear power to other countries, even though disaster recovery is still underway. It is clear that the lesson we can take from Hiroshima, Nagasaki, and Fukushima is that humanity cannot coexist with all things nuclear. I call on the government to make sincere and proactive efforts to further the movements towards abolishing nuclear weapons and shutting down nuclear power plants. Now, changes are being proposed to our peaceful constitution. Please, all atomic bomb survivors and those who have experienced war, tell the people around you of your experience so that our country does not revert to the generation of warfare from the past and so that another tragedy does not occur. There are young people in Nagasaki who desire a peaceful world without nuclear weapons and are working hard to achieve this goal. Their signature drive totals nearly 1 million signatures. I intend on continuing to tell my story to future generations, encouraged by these high school students. It is the responsibility of us adults to create a peaceful world safe from nuclear weapons and war. With such aspiration and determination, I hereby take the pledge for peace. Shohei Tsuiki, representative of the atomic bomb survivors, August 9th, 2013. Children's Chorus. The song title is Kora no Mitamayo, meaning to the souls of the children. Shiroyama Elementary School near the hypocenter was mercilessly destroyed in an instant. Most of the teachers and children fell victim to the atomic bomb. This song was composed to comfort the souls of the children who called to their parents as they passed away, and to convey our wish for peace. The 5th and 6th grade children will sing this song, which has been succeeded to by the children of Shiroyama Elementary School.
礼。
Honored guests will now make an address. The Prime Minister of Japan, Mr. Shinzo Abe, is going to take the podium. Here today, on the occasion of the 68th Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, I reverently express my sincerest condolences to the souls of the atomic bomb victims. I also extend my heartfelt sympathy to those still suffering from the after effects of the atomic bombing. In the morning, 68 years ago, a single bomb took the precious lives of more than 70,000 people. It destroyed the homes of 120,000 people with its raging fires and blasts. Those who survived were forced to withstand unspeakable hardships of illness and disability and tribulations in their daily lives. We have gone through miseries caused by atomic bombing not once, but twice. And yet we endured suffering and sorrow to stand up again and rebuild our homeland, restoring beautiful streets of Nagasaki. So today, we are here not only to honor the memory of the victims, but also to express gratitude to our forebears for their strenuous effort and achievement. We Japanese are the only people to have experienced nuclear devastation in war. As such a people, we bear responsibility to bring about a world without nuclear weapons, without fail. We have a duty to continue to tell the next generation and the world about inhumane consequences of nuclear weapons. Last year, the government of Japan submitted to the United Nations General Assembly a draft resolution on nuclear disarmament through the involvement of 99 co-sponsoring nations, the largest number ever, including the United States and the United Kingdom, and it was adopted by an overwhelming majority. This year, we began a program in which members of young generation serve as youth communicators for a world without nuclear weapons. Next year, in Hiroshima, we will convene a foreign ministers' meeting of the Non-Proliferation and Disarmament Initiative, or NPDI, a forum which brings together non-nuclear weapon states in which Japan has constantly taken a leading role. We at the government will exert every possible effort to enable individuals who are still waiting in pain and suffering to be recognized as having an atomic bomb disease, to receive that recognition as soon as possible, in order to listen to the voices of atomic bomb survivors and move forward with better policies to support them. Experts, representatives of atomic bomb survivors, and other relevant persons have been undertaking discussions with great urgency. This morning, as we mourn the souls of the victims in Nagasaki, I pledge that I will redouble my efforts to carry out these duties. I conclude with my heartfelt prayers once more for the repose of the souls of the victims. I also extend my best wishes to the bereaved families and to the atomic bomb survivors. I will close my address by pledging that Japan will firmly uphold the 3 non-nuclear principles and spare no efforts in working towards the total abolition of nuclear weapons and the realization of eternal world peace, so that the horror caused by nuclear weapons may not be repeated. Shinzo Abe, the Prime Minister of Japan, August 9th, 2013.
Governor of Nagasaki Prefecture, Mr. Hodo Nakamura. On the occasion of Nagasaki Peace Ceremony, I offer my heartfelt prayers to the deceased victims of the atomic bombing, together with the residents of Nagasaki Prefecture. On August 9, 1945, a single atomic bomb exploded about 500 meters above the city of Nagasaki. The horrendous blast winds and heat rays, together with a massive amount of radiation, instantly destroyed and burnt down the city of Nagasaki, claiming 74,000 precious lives, and leaving incurable scars on the minds and bodies of those people who managed to survive under hellish conditions. "68 years have passed. Thanks to the all-out effort by the residents and those who supported them, Nagasaki, which was once a burnt-out ruin, has recovered and developed into a beautiful city with aspiration for peace. However, the grief of those who lost their beloved families is still so deep and has not been eased. The survivors and those who experienced the atomic bombings still suffer from health problems due to radiation and experience of the atomic bombing. Nagasaki Prefecture takes the pain of the aging survivors who suffer from illnesses seriously and continues to work with the national government to improve the support measures for the survivors, including the revision of the screening process for radiation-related illnesses. In June this year, President Obama of the United States announced in his speech in Berlin that the United States will work with Russia to further reduce nuclear warheads. There are currently about 17,300 nuclear warheads in the world. The existence of such weapons that can annihilate the mankind many times over is a major threat to the future of mankind. I have a strong hope that the international community will steadily advance its move towards realizing a world free of nuclear weapons, and that the abolition of nuclear weapons and lasting world peace will be achieved without further delay. Under no circumstances should the use of nuclear weapons be accepted. However, much to our regret, Japan did not sign the joint statement on the humanitarian impact of nuclear weapons at the preparatory committee meeting for the NPT review conference in April this year. I urge the Japanese government to make all possible efforts, as the only country that had suffered nuclear devastation, by spearheading the international community's move towards realizing a world without nuclear weapons. We, the residents of Nagasaki Prefecture, have been telling the world of the dreadfulness and inhumanity of atomic bombing and appealing for the abolition of nuclear weapons and realization of everlasting world peace under the slogan, "Make Nagasaki the last place to suffer a nuclear attack." We take every opportunity to disseminate our message. We convey to students and visitors from overseas the realities of the atomic bombing through such initiatives as Nagasaki Peace University and Atomic Bomb Exhibition, and work with Nagasaki City and Nagasaki University to build the capacity of the next generation. We put great confidence in the high school peace ambassadors, whose activities are expanding steadily. It is our earnest hope that such initiatives will bear fruit at the earliest possible date. Now, the Great East Japan earthquake 2 years ago has left deep scars on the affected region. Because of the radioactive contamination from the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, many people are still forced to endure life as evacuees. I call on the Japanese government to attend to the needs of the disaster victims and to take all possible measures to avoid a recurrence of similar accidents. This day, August 9th, is an unforgettable day for the residents of Nagasaki Prefecture. It is not only the day of prayers, but also the day of pledge to vow never to allow the world to have nuclear devastation for the third time. I hereby offer my words of prayers to the deceased victims of the atomic bombing, wishing the survivors and those affected by the atomic bombing, residing in Japan and abroad, good health and with strong conviction and aspiration, vowing to make further efforts to achieve the abolition of nuclear weapons and everlasting world peace. August 9th, 2013, Governor of Nagasaki Prefecture, Hodo Nakamura. You can find telegrams and messages from various sources posted on the board on the right side of the entrance of the ceremony venue. Please have a look at them. And messages from various sources are posted at the entrance.
The song 1,000 Paper Cranes will be performed in chorus. It was created in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the atomic bombing. The lyrics, written by Kanae Yokoyama of Chiba Prefecture, was chosen from among many collected nationwide in the contest. The music was made by a composer from Nagasaki, Michiru Oshima. Today, the first and second year students of Ms. Oshima's alma mater, Junshin Girls Senior High School, are here to sing the song. The choir will be conducted by a teacher of the school, Kayoko Matsumoto, accompanied by Makoto Uchida on the keyboards. Mr. Uchida has also been playing music for the ceremony today.
With the Peace Declaration, as the wish of Nagasaki citizens, we will renew our resolve to continue our efforts towards realizing lasting world peace. We sincerely thank our honored guests and attendees for their cooperation in the smooth proceeding of the ceremony. This concludes the peace ceremony commemorating the 68th anniversary of the atomic bombing of Nagasaki.